Do you find yourself saying, I don't know, when people ask you why you do something? Gee, I don't know why I do that. Gee, I don't know. I guess it's just the way I am. Okay, so that's false. Okay, well, it's not the way you, well, yes, it is the way you are, but it's the way you chose to be. It's the way you choose to be. You're not, yes, to some degree we have genetics. We are born a certain way with certain features and traits and characteristics, etc. But nature nurture does hold up. It's not just about genes and heredity. It's also about your upbringing. What sort of stimuli you're exposed to, what sort of reinforcement or positive or negative you're exposed to, and that sort of, as a child, it forms your personality, your worldview, your sense of self in the world, and then people usually kind of stick to that, and that becomes, well, that's who I am. I can't help it. That's who I am. No, that's who you may have been trained to be. That's who you may have, be programmed to have been, and due to dysfunctional parenting and other various inputs into your psyche, but it's not who you are. Who you are is who you choose to be today, regardless of the past, regardless of the mistakes you made in the past, regardless of the good or bad or ugly things you did in the past. You have a choice today to be whoever and whatever you want to be, good, bad, or ugly. And in terms of karma, of wiping the slate clean, who knows what really goes on with all of that. But what I do know is that if you're not happy with your life today, okay, look in the mirror. Yes, you may have been a victim of various circumstances and situations and life forces, but to a large degree, you're not a victim. To a large degree, you are the master of your fate, the architect of your destiny. You are capable of doing great works, but you have to believe in yourself, and you have to know thyself. And knowing thyself means, look in the mirror and recognize the truth about who and what you are and why you do things. If someone says, well, why did you do that? And you go, I don't know. The answer is wrong. You do know. You do know. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to face it. You don't want to acknowledge it. You don't want to have to respond to it or react to it or do something different because you're ambivalent, because you're afraid. So you don't want to see the truth of who you or what you are, or the real motivations of what you're doing. Maybe it'll make you feel bad about yourself, but the point is you're not going to get anywhere in life. You're not going to get to accomplish the goals that you want, to win in the ways that you want, the relationships you want, the self-esteem, everything, the success. It's not going to happen unless you're willing to look at you. And if you say, I don't know why I did that, wrong. You do know. You need to look deeper. Okay, get out of the denial mode. And if you don't, and if you think, no, I don't know why I do it, and you go to somebody who's either a professional or a friend whose opinion you trust, and they'd say, well, I think you're doing it because of that, and don't shoot the messenger. You consider the possibility that that's absolutely right, and this is the problem that's getting in your way. And then do something about it to change it. But to say, I can't help it, it's who I am, that's false. You're just kidding yourself. If you say, I don't know why I do that. The other day, one of my patients put herself in a precarious position, at a party, and then she goes, I don't know why I do it. And then I said to her, yeah, you do know why. And she goes, yeah, I know. I was lonely. Well, yeah, the time to realize you're lonely and it may be a mistake to put yourself in a precarious position is not when you're in a precarious position, but beforehand, before you decide to go to a place which has slippery people there. So, by that I mean situations, people where the opportunity for you to go unconscious, to do things that are not in your best interest, to get sloppy and brainless. You don't go there. You don't. If you're lonely, recognize you're lonely and call a friend. Hang out with a friend. Do something to distract your mind from your loneliness, but don't make an impulsive, reckless, thoughtless, foolish choice which may victimize you, which may give you some immediate joy or sense of validation in the world, but in the long run is just going to beat you further into the ground. We need to pay attention. I don't know why I do this. Yeah, you do. If you look deep and you're honest with yourself, you can discover what that is. If you can't discover what that is, get help. And even though I have mentioned earlier that, going to a friend you trust, it can be very helpful, that ultimately, in my opinion, is not necessarily the greatest way to go, because even our best of friends and family have their own agendas and ulterior motives. They may wish the best for us, but they may also have other conflicted needs, which makes them not the purest of advisors and mentors to rely upon. So if you find a professional who actually knows what they're doing, and then you try to figure out why you do what you do, the answer you get back from the professional most likely is going to be better than the answer you get back from a friend of yours who likes giving advice to people. But ultimately, again, if people say, "Why'd you do that?" and you go, "I don't know," you do know. And you have to press yourself and force yourself to open your eyes, to pull back the curtain and see what's really going on. That's the only way you can actually address the problems in your life and create the life that you want.